Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarrusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome to the show Leslie Poole from Pet FBI, which is short for Pets Found by Internet. Pets FBI was established in 1998 and was one of the first web-based lost and found pet databases. And since they've been around for 20 some years, they've joined forces with some exciting organizations, Helping Lost Pets and Lost Dogs of America, and we're going to talk about that next time. We're doing a two-part show, but first we want to talk about preparing and protecting your pets for the 4th of July festivities, because as we all know, the 4th of July can be one of the worst days of the year for pets. So welcome to the show, Leslie.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Sure. And we're excited to talk about your organization and what you're doing, combining your databases with Helping Lost Pets out of Canada. And of course, we all know and familiar with Lost Dogs of America because we talk with Kathy Poblowski every single month. So that's really a good, exciting show that we're going to have next time. But this time, we really want to stress the importance of what to do to keep our furry family members safe for the 4th of July. So why don't you get talking about that and helping us understand some of the best tips that we can do?
Sure, I would love to. So as you said, the 4th of July is really a bad day for our pets. And the 5th of July tends to be one of the busiest days for the shelters and for those of us who do lost pet recovery because of all of the pets who are going to run away on the 4th. So there are some things that we really stress that we want pet owners to do prior to the 4th. A couple really easy things. One of them is very easy and inexpensive, is to get an ID tag for your pet to make sure that you have your current phone number on an ID tag on your pet's collar. So if your pet does run off and somebody picks them up down the street, they can just immediately call you. It's simple, it's inexpensive. I saw a tip on a site not too long ago that even suggested if you don't have time to get the ID tag, just take a Sharpie and write your phone number on your pet's collar.
That's right.
Just really quick.
Yeah.
But of course, we know that pets don't always have their collars on when they run away. Dogs can slip their collars. Cats don't always have collars on. They run out the door. So we really stress microchipping. And I know that's something that you also stress. Get your pet microchipped. You have time before the 4th. There are actually a lot of low and reduced priced clinics around right now who are offering that. So you can jump online and see if anybody's offering that discounted in your area. But we really stress that microchipping, and please update your registration because the chip doesn't do any good if your registration is not current.
That's right.
And I think that's one of those things people forget about. You're moving, you've got a long list of things to do, and that just doesn't always get done. So make sure your microchip is up to date. There is a site, petmicrochiplookup.org. If you're not sure your chip registration is current, you can jump on there, and it'll tell you where your registration is and the last time you updated it, just to be sure that that's up to date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, we also advise people to have a good quality photograph. A lot of times we get pet reports and they don't have a photograph of their pet. I don't know about you, but my phone is nothing but photographs of my pets.
Yeah.
But occasionally you don't, if it's a new pet, you've just adopted them, you don't have a good photograph, or you don't have a good quality photograph, or the photograph is with a bunch of other pets or with family members. So be sure you have a good quality photograph that shows any distinctive characteristics in case you do have to post a report or make flyers. And then before the 4th, we also advise people to just do a perimeter check of your backyard. Make sure the gate's securely latched. There's no holes in your fence. There are no places that a pet can escape. Just check everything and be aware that where we live, fireworks start the week before 4th of July and seem to continue, at least a week after. And a lot of times, issues happen. It's not the big fireworks displays. It's that random firecracker that's set off down the street as you're walking your dog that causes problems. So just be really hyper vigilant at this time of year, that there are going to be firecrackers and loud noises that frankly are terrifying for pets.
Yeah, they sure are. I know my poor dogs just, you think they're going to have a heart attack. They get so scared.
Yeah, I don't think people always realize how traumatizing that is. I mean, they have very sensitive hearing, more so than we do, and it's not fun for them at all. If you're Please don't take your pets to the fireworks displays. I mean, the safest place for them during the 4th of July is at home. We had a dog a while back, and she had some pretty severe thunderstorm anxiety. And we did not take her out during the fireworks, and we would keep her at home and put some classical music on, some nice background noise, to keep her distracted during the fireworks, because it was really pretty traumatizing for her.
Yeah, last year we actually had one of the lost pets was lost from the beach during the fireworks, and you have to wonder, why do people take their pets to the beach to the fireworks?
Yeah, I
Because
know.
even though maybe your pet's not afraid of big noises in your home or thunder in your home, but getting them outside in a crowd in a different environment, that sure changes things.
It absolutely does. And we see that every year. Somebody takes their pet to the fireworks because, they feel like they're comfortable in crowds. They've never had an issue. They've never run away. But as soon as the fireworks start, they bolt. And we've even seen cases where, a dog will hurt themselves trying to run through a window or through a screen door, and do themselves injury because they're so frightened. So we always say it's best just to leave your pets at home. If they're crate trained and they're comfortable in their crate, that's a great option, to put them in the crate. But yeah, and a couple other things that we talk about around the 4th of July. It's not just the fireworks, but there are a lot of other hazards if you're having like backyard barbecues and you have people coming and going and opening doors and not paying attention to the pets. That's a great time for your cat to slip out or your dog to slip out. So make sure that all of your guests are aware that you have pets and are watching the doors as they're coming and going. But you also have things around the house or in the backyard, especially if you're doing a barbecue, like lighter fluid and matches and insect repellents, alcoholic beverages. So be very careful about that. Those can pose risks for your pets as well.
Yeah.
And you never know. I know we have people that come over and they just want to feed the dog. I don't know why everybody feels like they need to feed the dog, and people who don't have pets aren't always aware that there are certain things that are toxic, grapes and onions and raisins and chocolate. And if they're not aware of that, your pet could ingest something that could be really potentially harmful.
Yeah, that's a good tip, because you think about those things more around the holidays, but even though the 4th of July is a holiday, you don't really think about that, but that's really good to add. Definitely.
Yeah, people, and sometimes, especially with dogs, it may not be something toxic, but it's just not their normal diet, and that can cause some digestive issues for a pet, which just adds to the misery of the day.
Right. Definitely.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that is 4th of July is just 5th of July actually is really busy for us. So we just want to get the word out early on so people can be prepared to try to prevent some of these runaways from happening. And then, of course, if your pet does get lost, if the worst happens and they slip out, if you go to petfbi.org, as you mentioned earlier, we're sharing reports with some of our partner organizations. And so getting your pet listed in a database as soon as possible at petfbi.org is a great thing, and get that word out.
Yeah, I get your alerts. You can sign up for the alerts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing I do want to add about the pictures, because we always like to make sure. I got this tip from someone when I did an interview, and I always try to pass this along because it's a great tip as far as if your pet does get lost, besides having great pictures of your pets to post or make a flyer with, it's also a great idea to have a picture of you with your pet as a means of proof of ownership when you want
Yep.
to claim your pet.
That is an excellent idea. Yes, definitely. It doesn't happen very often, but there are, occasionally times where you do have to prove ownership if you don't have the microchip, or you may not have other means, but have a picture of yourself with your pet is an excellent suggestion.
Yeah, yeah, that came about when we were talking about hurricanes and, the lost pets during that and how to claim them if any of your stuff got wrecked, I guess, and it
Yeah.
didn't have any ID on it. So that's really something to consider always having with you besides
Yeah.
all your other information that you have. Um, well, what else? Let's see. So when you prepared all these things, you gave some really, really awesome ideas and tips and things that everybody should do in preparation for the 4th of July, and actually in preparation for any get together that you might have to keep your pets safe. So then when or what besides, let's talk about what do the people do, heaven forbid, if their pet did escape. um, Pet FBI has the online, and then they have the way to create the free flyers for you, and give the other things that, or talk about the other things that people need to do the next day or that night, if their pet is missing.
Yeah. So we suggest, and obviously, as you mentioned, going online and filling out the report in the database. And then you can go ahead as soon as you create your report. There's a flyer template right there. It loads your information in there and you can make your flyers. Because we do recommend that you have flyers and brightly colored signs with your pet's picture that you hand out, go door to door, and put the signs, the brightly colored signs, in heavily traveled areas and intersections. We also suggest that if your dog has gone missing, you can put out, and dogs and cats behave a little bit differently. So we have a little different tips on our website, depending on whether it's a dog or a cat. If you're looking for a lost dog, we do suggest you put your dog's food and water, their crate, maybe their bedding, outside or the last place that they were seen. Notify animal control, your local police departments, shelters, clinics, anywhere that somebody may take your pet. The 5th of July is extremely busy for shelters, so we always tell people to go in person. They don't always have enough staff to field phone calls and check emails and try to take descriptions over the phone. You really need to go in person. And every state has a different stray hold law. I know here in Ohio it's 3 days. So after 3 days at the shelter, your pet could be up for adoption. So it's really critical that you go in person to the shelter the next day to see if they've been, if they're in the intakes. Also, we recommend calling the microchip company and letting them know, first making sure your information is up to date, and then letting them know as well that your pet is lost in case they get a call. If you are posting, once you've posted in our database, which is of course shared with our partners at Lost Dogs and Lost Cats and Helping Lost Pets, also post on any neighborhood lost and found sites or on nextdoor.com or Craigslist, whatever active social media sites you have in your area, to go ahead and post on those as well. And then, just one last tip, if you're out looking, going door to door, and you have family and friends helping you search, don't chase, don't call them, don't yell at them. A dog is frightened enough in this instance. And now, the dog is running and now people are running after him. And all he knows is that somebody's chasing him and yelling at him. And so
Right.
you could potentially chase an animal out into a more dangerous situation. So we always say, just please don't yell, don't chase.
Yeah, that's a very, very important tip for people, because I know Kathy would say that, and then she would say, rather than having all these people out looking, they should be out handing out flyers,